Basketball was invented by James Naismith in Springfield, Massachusetts in the year of 1891. Naismith was asked to come up with an indoor game that offered fewer injuries than classic American gridiron football. He came up with 9-on-9 game that involved shooting a ball into a pitch basket. A hoop or basket with net around its circumference and of 18 inches diameter is firmly hung horizontally from a rectangular backboard of 3.5 feet height and 6 feet width in either sides of the court. The rim of the hoop is 10 feet above the ground. The backboard in various international competitions is transparent for better visibility. Basketball is an orange color and rough texture spherical ball with black contours usually made of leather or composite tough materials. The ball is bounced continuously, thrown through the air to other players and towards the basket. So a typical basketball must be very durable and easy to hold on to. The size of the court depends on the playing level. The size of the court for NBA and college game is 94 feet long and 50 feet wide. It is smaller for high school and junior high. The basketball team on offense is the team with the basketball. When a player has the basketball, there are certain rules they must follow. The player must bounce or dribble the ball with one hand while moving both feet. If, at any time, both hands touch the ball or the player stops dribbling, the player must only move one foot. The foot that is stationary is called the pivot foot. The basketball player can only take one turn at dribbling. In other words, once a player has stopped dribbling, they cannot start another dribble. A player who starts dribbling again is called for a double dribbling violation and loses the basketball to the other team. A player can only start another dribble after another player from either team touches or gains control of the basketball. This is usually after a shot or pass. The ball must stay in bounds. If the offensive team loses the ball out of bounds, the other team gets control of the basketball. The player's hand must be on the top of the ball while dribbling. If they touch the bottom of the basketball while dribbling and continue to dribble, this is called carrying the ball and the player will lose the ball to the other team. Once the offensive team crosses half court, they may not go back into the backcourt. This is called a backcourt violation. If defensive team knocks the ball into the backcourt, then the offensive team can recover the ball legally. Top point guards dribble and control the ball as if it were on a string. Good technique is critical for a ball handler. You should dribble with your fingertips rather than your palm. Dribble with your head up so you can see the opposition and your teammates. Keep your body low and use your off-ball hand to help keep your defender at bay. Work on dribbling with both hands so you'll be as comfortable going to your left or your right. Great passers can see the whole court and anticipate where a teammate will go and what a defender will do. Mastering the basics is the place to start. Develop a two-hand chest pass, bounce pass, and overhead pass so you can deliver the ball to your teammates in the best position for them to shoot or beat their defender. Steve Nash or Derrick Rose can dazzle you with a behind-the-back or a no-look pass. But those moves are not just for show. They provide a teammate the best chance to score. It is difficult to score if you can't shoot the ball effectively. As Better Basketball Coaching explains, shooting is something of an art form, and some players, such as Kevin Durant and Ray Allen, have a knack for it. But everyone can improve their shooting through proper technique and lots of practice. Proper technique includes squaring your body up to the target, shooting the ball with your fingertips, keeping your elbows from flying, putting backspin and arc on the shot, and following through completely after letting the ball fly. Although it helps to be tall and have jumping ability, rebounding is a matter of desire as well as ability. Charles Barkley was relatively small for a forward, but he was an outstanding rebounder. He had the ability to determine where an errant shot was likely to fall, the willingness to crush the boards relentlessly, and the strength to block out taller opponents. Blocking out your opponent, also called boxing out, is one of the keys to good rebounding. To do it effectively, maintain your concentration and focus. Even the best scorers go into shooting slumps, but you can always play good defense if you hustle and understand both individual and team defense. When you are defending a player, keep your head lower than his. Stay close enough to the offensive player to bother him, but not so close he can blow by you with one step. Know your opponent's tendencies so you can dictate the direction you want him to move. Be aware of the other players on the court so you can play help defense when a teammate loses his man.
Next sport is volleyball. Volleyball is an American sport that dates back in the 19th century. Many competitions and international sports such as Olympic Games and the Pan-American Games are well known and famous in the world. Volleyball is originally known as mintonet, was created in 1895 by William G. Morgan, 4 years after the invention of basketball. Morgan, a Springfield College of the YMCA alumni, developed the game or a hybrid of basketball, baseball, tennis, and handball. This sport is played on both open and closed courts, and the number of men and women who participate is nearly equal. So now, we have the equipment and the facilities for volleyball. The object used for volleyball is just a ball, official volleyball, measuring to 65 to 67 cm in diameter, wrapped in a flexible or synthetic leather cover, and made up of an inflatable inner chamber or similar materials. Its color is bright and consistent. It combines a color interleaving. Under the equipment and facilities, we have the volleyball court dimensions. The overall size of the volleyball court is 60 feet by 30 feet. The net is in the middle of the court with each side measuring 30 feet by 30 feet. We have the center line. At the center of the court, a center line is drawn, dividing it into 30-foot squares above which the net is put. Next is attack line. A 10-foot attack the line is drawn on either side of the center line. Next is service line. Each back line has a service line 10 feet inside the right sideline from which the server can serve the volleyball. Next is the net. The net is suspended directly over the center line at a height of 7 feet, 4 inches for women, and 8 feet for men. Next, we have the poles. Volleyball poles should be 36 feet apart and 3 feet away from the sideline. Now, we have the last one, which is the ceiling height. The minimum of the ceiling height should be 23 feet, but it is preferable to have a higher ceiling. Now, we go to the basic skills for playing volleyball. Like most sports, volleyball requires every player to be good at some basic skills before they can truly excel at the sport. So, here are the 6 basic skills you absolutely need to master to be a competent volleyball player. We have the first basic skills for playing volleyball, which is serving. Every point's first action is serving. The second basic skill is the receiving or passing. The act of receiving or passing is served. Typically, a forearm pass is used, but an overhead pass may also be used. Your team's offense is set up by successful throw. The move option is your attack has the stronger the move. The third basic skill is setting. An overhead pass that is intended to set up a teammate as an intruder. The fourth basic skill is hitting or spiking. Hitting the ball violently with an overhead attack while leaping as high as possible. The fifth basic skill is the block. The first line of defense is the block, used to prevent the ball from entering your court. It can also funnel the attack to a smaller area of the court, making your defender's job easier. The last basic skills is what we call the defense. In terms of execution, this ability is similar to receiving or passing. The only explanation for the difference is that playing a defense is much more difficult than receiving a serve because the attacker is much closer, which means less than 20 feet versus 40 to 50 feet from the service line.
Softball and baseball began in 1887 when George Hancock, a reporter from the Chicago Board of Trade, invented indoor baseball. By the spring of 1888, the game has spread outdoors. It was originally called either mashball, kitten ball, or indoor baseball. But by the 1920s, it had acquired the name of softball. The sport was originally played by men and did not become popular with women until the formation of the ASA. The equipment that required from softball and baseball is the first one is bases and home plates, screens, batting tees, pitcher's plates, pitching machines, pitching mounds and platforms, baseball backstops, baseball batting cages, helmet, bats, gloves, catcher's equipment, balls, field maintenance, and umpire equipment. The baseball and softball are available on indoor and outdoor grounds. The basic rules of softball is 2 teams of 9 players alternate turns at batting and fielding, often called defense. The aim for the team's batting is to advance runner around all bases to the home plate to score runs. The teams that score the most runs in the 7-inning wins. The tiebreaker procedure come into play if the score are tied after the 7th innings. Each team's inning ends when 3 of the batters have been ruled out, and then the team that was defending goes into the bat. Softball and baseball, basic individual skills is hitting, fielding, throwing, and base running. Hitting, these skills are developed through regular batting practice. Hitters must be balanced when standing at the plate and drive their hands through the ball with all their strength and momentum behind their swings. Fielders need to catch hundreds of ground balls and fly balls in practice to learn how to field consistently. Throwing the ball well requires arm strength, balance, and timing. Base running. This is one of the skills that many players and coaches overlook. A good base runner will listen to the advice from coaches on the base paths but will make the final decision whether to run or stop based on his own knowledge.
The history of football and futsal. Football originated in Britain in 19th century through folk football had been played since medieval times with varying rules. While futsal can be tracked back to 1930, originating in the capital of Uruguay, Montevideo, where school teacher Juan Carlos Seriani developed an adaptation of football. The equipments at football and futsal. In football, we have helmet, shoulder pads, gloves, shoes, and tie and knees pads, a mouth guard, and a jackstrap or compression short with or without protective cuff. While in futsal, we have shoes, shin guards, short, shirt, socks, and ball. The facilities in football are football field dimensions, a ball, some friends, and a soccer goal, list of official balls, goal line technology and other technology for football, and football equipments. While in futsal facilities, we have futsal and netball, futsal basketball, and futsal handball. The basic rules in football are a match consists of two 45 minutes halves with a 15 minutes rest period in between. Each team can have a minimum of 11 players. The field must be made of either artificial or natural grass. The ball must have a circumference of 58 to 61 cm and be circular shape. Each team can name up to 7 substitute players. Each game must include 1 referee and 2 assistant referees. The basic rules in futsal are 5 players versus 5 players, subs on the fly, no offsides, no goalkeeper punts, no slide tackles, no throw-in from the sidelines, free kick and corners. The opposing team has to be minimum of 5 yards away from the ball and with a penalty kick. So now let's proceed to some basic individual skills in football and futsal. In football, we have step over turn, the roll, step over, drag back, and craft turn. While in futsal, players need to have a great capacity of intermittent endurance, repeated sprint ability, and leg power, while technical aspect includes the ability of high-level shooting and passing skills, agility, and coordination.
About 500 years ago, SepakTakraw was originated in Malaysia. It was mainly played by the royal court in the 15th century. The game became popular in Indonesia around 16th century, where it was known as SepakRaga. By 1940, the game's net version had spread across Southeast Asia, and the game's formal rules and regulations had been developed. The net and the hand-woven rattan ball are the most important pieces of SepakTakraw equipment. Other items such as a playing jersey, shoes, and protective guards are included in addition to these two. Rules of SepakTakraw. Games of SepakTakraw shall be played by 2 teams of 3 players. Games should be played on a court that fits the regulation size and markings as set out by ITSAF with an official SepakTakraw ball. The team to serve first is decided by a coin toss before the match commences. Play begins when the server is thrown the ball by a teammate and must then kick the ball over the net whilst keeping 1 foot in the service circle. Players may only touch the ball with their feet, head, knees, and chest. Touching the ball with the hand or any other part of the body can result in a fault and a point for the opposition. Each team is allowed a maximum of 3 touches of the ball to return it back over the net without letting it touch the ground. Failure to return the ball over the net before it hits the ground results in a point to the opposition. Points are always scored in SepakTakraw by the opposition faulting, and they can do this in a number of ways. The first team to reach 21 points wins a set. The first team to win 2 sets is declared the winner. So the basic skills in SepakTakraw are: first, inside kick; second, knee or thigh kick; third, header; and the last is front kick or toe kick.